Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. I got echo. Sorry, guys. Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning. Hookup Phillips. I like your Gus is back. That start is like the start of my morning, by the way. So far, sitting here. It was a rough weekend, long weekend for Hooksy. Thank you guys for yesterday for hanging out here.
Dude, of course, I got to unload on the Royals. It was a great day.
Oh,
Yeah, I should have curtailed that one. Just kidding. No, the Royals deserve all the hate right now.
It wasn't even hate, it was constructive criticism. Fix what you've got going on because it's a horrible product to watch.
wow. Out with the fire this morning.
Mhm.
I like all of this.
Oh, it was incredible. If you haven't seen it, go check out yesterday's edition of the Morning Hookup.
I'm gonna have to do that. My weekend, I was in. We had baseball weekend in Des Moines.
I heard you left at 4 a.m. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. I would want to get out of Des Moines too. Nice city.
Well, this was crazy. It was wild, but it was a great weekend. Boys made it to the championship, got beat in the championship. But it was one of those, we were there all weekend, and there was weather there, not like here, not like the alerts that were going on in Lincoln. Obviously, a lot of things happening with the mega 4 days of severe weather here. But it would rain overnight in Des Moines. We were in a dirt field complex, got up Sunday morning, all to find out that everything gets moved and delayed because they get you to the turf. They have a million turf fields up in Des Moines. Got moved, got delayed, all that, whatever the case is. Championship game started at 7:05 Sunday night. It gets done around like 9. Well, we get back. We end up deciding to stay the night again in Des Moines because we could see the weather coming through Sunday night in Lincoln and then moving its way all the way up by 80. Hey, not driving through that, boom, whatever. Get back to the hotel like at 9:30 at night. Yeah, we got up at 4 a.m. Made it back to Lincoln around 7:10 yesterday morning. Got everybody showered up, got them to school, and made it back for the event I had to get to by 9:20.
Oh yeah, look at you.
Were they dragging when they got in and out of the shower? Were
Not
they
happy, boys. Not happy. But I'm like, this is the life.
Dad, why do we have to go to school?
And it's the last 4 days. It's got to go.
Yeah, got to finish it out.
Got to go.
These are the easiest 4 days too, because by this point in the school year, everything's like done. The teachers are now looking for ways to just fill time for 4 days until they're done.
You're watching movies, brother. We got snacks. Your tests are done. This is just hanging out and social hour right now.
So we get them off to school, done. I played an event yesterday, got that done, got home, whatever. My wife's on a retreat, and I got to get up this morning, got to get going again. I wake up in a panic because everybody's tired in the house. The boys are tired. Everybody's just beat because we didn't slow down. Woke up this morning to nothing. Phone on my chest, TV still on. What time is it moment?
Yep.
It was 6:25, which is like an hour later than I'm usually up. It was like this scene from Home Alone.
You're scrambling
right away to get it all done, get the boys out of the house. To my son, text and go, hey, I forgot my algebra book. Yay.
He doesn't need it anyway.
No, get over there. And you're talking about summer. I walked into the school, and they know I know a lot of them in there, and they were the most smiling administrative people I'd ever seen.
It was like one of those scenes where like somebody from the district's coming to tour, or it's like somebody from the health department. They're like, hi, welcome.
Kids were walking in. They're like, good luck on your finals. It looked like summer vacation inside that administrative office already. But we're here. We're back. Lots to get to today. Ton of Husker topics that I've watched from afar this weekend.
No summer break for us. Simplest way to put it.
No
summer break for us.
I thank Husker Athletics for that right now.
We work in sports. It's always a break. Let's be honest. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot of Huskers today. Robin Washit coming up here in a few moments. Brian Munson in hour number 2. We'll talk some NBA, some NHL. Boy, electricity last night. If you watch those.
A lot of great competition last night.
But when Justice walked in, he goes, you know what today is? You know what's so great about Tuesday? And I'm like, I don't know. It's Tuesday, May 19th. Happy May 19th. And I started thinking to myself, I don't know. And he goes, you know what? It's the start of conference baseball tournaments right now. It started. Right. They're live right now.
They're live right now. They're up at the Chuck playing baseball right now. Elijah Herbal not umpiring right now. You too could be behind the plate for Michigan State Purdue right now.
I think they had a drawing.
Make a wish.
Who wants to umpire Purdue baseball?
I don't know, man. I think Elijah could be a mean second base umpire for that.
Oh, second. Don't give me second base.
You got
put him in the rocking chair.
You want to be calling balls and strikes for that?
Oh yeah.
Put him in the rocking chair. The guy to get the first cup of water as the guys run out.
It's 9 a.m. at the first game of the Big Ten tournament. Swing the bat, boys.
Yeah. Let's set the tone.
Yeah. Anything borderline.
Big zone.
That 9 a.m. game.
We're going batter's box to batter's box.
That
neck to ankles.
That 9 a.m. game is like being the 1A group in a scramble. Boys, you got one job.
Yeah.
Set the pace.
Get up and get moving.
And they're not bringing you water as umpires. They're bringing you shots of coffee. And all you're doing is just smiling.
Yeah.
Ha!
Pitcher, you're getting 2 warm-up pitches in between innings. We're
Let's
moving.
You are going to blow out somebody's UCL doing that. They're going to be UCLs taken.
Umpires are out there going, "Hey, how many you need? I think you need 3."
They're gonna call you.
Play.
They're gonna call you the finisher at the end of it.
Let's go, boys! In and out.
You give them 30
I don't get paid by the hour.
Get in the box.
Elijah's just issuing warnings because they took longer than 30 seconds to get in and out.
They're over there doing this. They're like, "We're not doing that today. Not at 9.
Stands.
Reviews down. 9 o'clock game reviews are down." But that is
You're trying to call time in the box?
Are you kidding me? Pace of play. Let's go. This is Mark Burley, baby. We're under 2 hours.
We did that. Speaking of like pace of play, we were in that tournament in Des Moines, and gamesmanship, and I can't stand it. Youth baseball things, there's certain things that drive me nuts. This one team, we get a run on first. They would do the step back fake to pick off at first and then jump back on the mound real quick. Because our kids are like there and we're in the they try to quick pitch. You can, but we're like, so we noticed it. Step back. He tried to jump back up on the mound as our kids, walking it up. We just said, "Hey, step out." We just stepped him out all day. That's part of that youth. It's weird.
2 can play that game, essentially.
Yes. 2 can play. And we just stepped out.
Yeah.
It was just odd. Just odd stuff. Sorry, I digress.
Just hit that 1 foot out of the box.
No, it's so weird to me because
digress.
it's so different from when I played youth baseball, which is not far removed. Like, it's not crazy to think about like that was like probably 10 years ago. I was still playing youth baseball, and it's like yeah, I'm a young cat, Hooksy, but it's like we're not far removed. But you sit in there and like youth baseball is like, "Oh, hey, show up! Everybody gets Capri Suns, and we're getting orange slices, and it's like everybody's happy. We're just playing baseball, travel ball in the summertime." And it's like
now we got walk-up music and PA announcers announcing.
They got these freaking pizza oven mitts in the back of their, in the back of their.
Their entire face is covered in eye black.
I'm calling Class C state baseball over the weekend. I see these guys with these freaking oven mitts. I'm like, I just used that to pull my pizza out of the oven last night. My cheese dippers.
Speaking my language. Kids wearing chains.
Well, okay, like elbow guards, I can understand. Nobody wants to wear.
I think the elbow guard is the only piece of that you should wear.
Like maybe a shin guard if you're good enough. Like it's like a hey, if you get plunked by a pitch and like you're crowding the plate, like I kind of get a shin guard, but like that's it. Like maybe some batting gloves, like. Give me the Chris Bryant look, and we're okay. But it's like everybody's got.
You're
going to
make me yell an entire segment about that stuff. Shin guards are dumb.
I mean,
how many times you umpire in a game and you see them go off their shin?
Never. Not a youth level. Never.
Now the high school game, you probably did one.
You see him off the top of the foot a decent amount in the high school games. And I understand that one, but like when the pitch isn't coming in fast, it's lollipopping in there. You're never going to foul it down into your own shin.
No.
You're just never going to.
But again, Big Ten baseball off to a start. Nebraska will be watching that bottom part of that bracket. You've got four games today. Purdue, Michigan State at 9, followed by, as you said, your hate baseball opportunity at 1 o'clock. You've got Iowa, Illinois at 1 o'clock.
Great hate watch opportunity.
Yep. Nebraska will be watching the that night session. You got Michigan, Rutgers, Ohio State, Washington as that. What Nebraska will see will be coming out of that side of it.
Hey, fellas, they snuck in as the last team in. Michigan State's out to a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the first here.
Woo!
They're swinging the bat.
They're jumping on it. Hey, they're only the Elijah Herbal pace of play right there. Let's get up, get out, and get moving.
Get them moving. So you got that going on as Nebraska will be sitting back waiting for their opponent coming up on Friday, 5 o'clock. I know you guys had a debate about that a little bit, didn't you, on the pitching rotation, what you would do in that situation. With that, I'm in the camp right now is that you just stay status quo and keep your Friday, Saturday, Sunday guys going in that mode as you get to that point, because I'm a set the tone guy. Set it, lock it down, get it done, keep moving on.
I mean, how many wins do you think Nebraska needs to be a regional host lock this weekend? I think that determines. Like, if they perceive that they need 2,
that locks that it gives them 100%.
If you get 2, hundo.
If you get 2 and you get that head-to-head win against likely Oregon on a Saturday,
that's a lock.
You've locked it in there.
I think you win 1, you're a lock.
I think
if you avoid the bad loss, you're a lock.
I think if you get 1, then you're on the greater side of the lock. Like you probably say 75%.
It's because
fair. And then the second one just goes. See you in Lincoln.
Because the question becomes, and we talked about this briefly yesterday, if you're playing head-to-head against Oregon, does that become a data point for the NCAA selection committee as a head-to-head game between, okay, Nebraska and Oregon battling it out here for a regional? What does the committee think of USC also plays big into this, which remains an unknown. I think most of America doesn't see USC as a hosting team, but the RPI does, and the RPI sees them as a top 10. Now, some different metrics out there believe USC is far from a hosting team because they have struggled so much against quad 1 games.
Yes.
But RPI still has them top 10 in the country. That remains an unknown. If the committee, as of right now, thinks USC is in as a host, I think you need 2. If the committee currently has USC on the outside looking in for a hosting spot, I think 1 should get it done for you. That's another question.
Does it also matter what goes on in the rest of the country, specifically with some of those borderline hosts? Like Oregon State's going to be removed from this conversation because their season's basically done as an independent until they get to the postseason. Yep. But like in Arkansas, in Ole Miss, teams of that ilk, like in Oklahoma State, a West Virginia, like are these teams going to have things to say about being a host? If you're Nebraska, does that play into where you factor the 2 wins in?
Yeah, because Ole Miss is the one school there that you list, I think, has the highest probability of playing their way in this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They're right on that line of being a hosting team. I think as of now, you'd give Kansas the host spot over them. But if Ole Miss comes in and plays until Sunday down in Hoover, then you're looking at a spot where Ole Miss is bouncing either Kansas or Nebraska. I think as of right now, Kansas and Nebraska are both hosting teams, despite Kansas faltering down the stretch. But I think Kansas would be more on the line than Nebraska is, despite the head-to-head between Kansas and Nebraska in the midweek.
What about
Kansas has just struggled?
Because Ole Miss plays Missouri is the first game of the SEC tournament at 9:30. They dropped that. They're out of the host conversation.
100%.
Because Missouri's not an amazing team. They've had a better season than they've had in the past, but like still not a great team. But yeah, I mean, I think it depends on a lot of what's going on the outside. Like if Arkansas has a good weekend, they can play their way into it. Certainly, Coastal might have an electric weekend and have something to say. Like there's going to be teams that have their say in a lot of this stuff. I think it just like if you handle business, you get 1 or 2, you're probably fine. But the most important thing is win and win as much as you can, because listen, there's a lot of people on the outside who think Nebraska can just go win this whole thing. They got the tournament mojo, right? They got guys swinging hot bats right now. They might just play their way into a 3rd consecutive Big Ten tournament title. And at that point, we get to have some fun conversations about Will Bolt. And I mean, like fun in a good way. Like, hey, this is he's kind of got this program in like an elite trajectory right now.
But again, Big Ten tournaments off and running as Nebraska will await that opponent. I know on the other side, another hosting weekend for Nebraska softball coming up with an electric weekend. I don't even know how do you describe Jordy Fromm on the weekend?
Dominant.
Completely dominant.
Pristine, immaculate.
And now putting herself in conversations of where she ranks as a female athlete or a athlete at Nebraska with that performance, and a big weekend coming up with Oklahoma State coming up.
Well, and this gets to a conversation we had over the weekend on the Average Joe Sports Show. I know Gary Sharp brought this up, and I think it's an incredible point to make. Has there been an athlete at Nebraska that came in with expectations as high as Jordy Ball, now Fromm, did, that then went and exceeded those expectations?
I'm gonna say that's a great question. I don't think
the portal era
history
changes this, but
it does. But it's looking at her showing up, not just the performances, it's everything around it, what she's brought on the outside, the players that want to come play, the just everything with that, not just what she's done on the diamond, inside the circle with the bat. It's changed the entire trajectory of an entire program.
the culture, look at the vibes around that softball program, which I think starts with her. You talk about the players that come and they want to play with Jordy. Like,
yep.
The confidence that permeates throughout the team, knowing, hey, we have Jordy in the circle.
And you're creating that culture now. It's not this legacy will be all determined for sure by stats and figures and things like that. But now it's look past her when she moves on from here. The culture developed who's the next up that will become that because they're here. That movement has started. Is it Jensen in the circle now? By the way, it's been phenomenal as well. Obviously, her performances get overshadowed a little bit because of 21 strikeouts in the last 7 innings by your All-American. But that definition of that will be defined years after this, what it looks like.
Well, and think about the expectations that she stepped in with. The expectations that she stepped in with were Jordy steps in, she's going to be the best pitcher in the Big Ten, and she's going to make Nebraska nationally relevant. She's exceeded those expectations because she's turned into, over the last 2 seasons, in my opinion, the best college softball player in America.
Mm-hmm.
And she's led you not just to Women's College World Series talks, you are national championship good this year.
There's no doubt.
And then the performances that she goes and stacks in there, we're talking ERA sub 1.5. You're talking 30. Was it 30 home runs last year?
I think it was last year. Yep. But
I mean, this year great at the plate as well. Like, she stepped in with incredibly high expectations and somehow went out there and exceeded them and put together 2 of the best individual seasons in Husker softball history.
Yep. I mean, I'm not well versed enough on like the early history of Nebraska volleyball, but maybe there's somebody in there that might have had a similar trajectory. But I don't know if anybody came in with the same pedigree that she did, somebody as highly touted as she was, and then went and like had expectations that she is going to elevate the status of a program, and then went and elevated the status of a program. You would be hard pressed to find somebody in Husker history who has done that from either the male or the female side. I mean, that's really tough to say. Like, football's tough because like it's not one guy, it's like a group of guys that do it for basketball. Like, I would say it's also a group of guys that did it for this Nebraska basketball squad, and they didn't have nearly the expectations that she did. Like, she had the weight of the world on her shoulders, and somehow she shrugged it off and just, dragged this thing up to new heights. And I don't think it's just her. I think it was a commitment by several Nebraska athletes. I think it's the Kamens sisters as well. I think, Bella Bacon coming back had a part to play in all of this. Like, there were legitimate, whether it's one way or another, like there were pieces in and around this team that helped elevate the level of this team. It wasn't just Jordy Fromm, even though she's absolutely incredible.
Great stuff. They'll get back at, I believe, Thursday in a late one out there at Bowling Stadium. But we'll keep up to date with that as we get closer to that big super regional down at Bowling Stadium. Let's take our first break. We'll keep this thing rolling, and we'll bring on Robin Wasson with HuskerOnline.com.
Oh, Elijah's just handling some business, isn't he?
Yeah. The logistical conversations.
Figuring out what they're going to do.
Yep.
Boy, Michigan State jumping out early wasn't on my that wasn't on my bingo card.
What's that? Sorry. Michigan State jumping out?
Yeah. Now Duke just took the lead on NC State.
These early games impact the entire. I mean, it's crazy.
Hey, make it 4-0 Michigan State in the bottom of the first. Purdue error and 4 hits, and that plate's 4 runs, Coach.
My goodness.
Hey, man, you got to come to play. Michigan State's proven they belong.
Well, just like last year, we had them to thank.
Mm-hmm.
This year, they have us to thank.
Yeah, and I thought I've never seen a baseball team just break somebody's will, but boy, Husker baseball did about as good as you could to smash Minnesota around until Saturday. Then they just broke the floodgates open. I mean, those first 2 games, Minnesota expended everything they had. Every arm, they left no stone unturned. 25-minute review. There was no stone left unturned for the Golden Gophers, and they still just couldn't find a way to scrape it across. Yeah. You know they haven't made the Big Ten tournament since 2019.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're like desperate to get back. They haven't made the Big Ten tournament.
Guess I didn't realize it was that long.
It's a decently historical program. I mean, they've got plenty of CWS appearances.
Didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
It was something else I took a picture of. Well, that's what baseball. I'm going to bring that up. Boy.
Let's see who's ringing.
I need to tell you my umpire story from the weekend. So I'm sitting on my bucket on the offense side because I just call pitches and do pitching and I do other stuff. But so I'm sitting there. It's a couple young umpires who are both 17 being monitored. Yeah, they did a not really nice job. They did. So I'm sitting there and I'm like sitting like this, staring at this, and I look over my shoulder. First base umpire is rolling over during the pitch and throws up.
Oh,
already in between innings, he had been sitting down on the field and sometimes laying backwards.
It wasn't that hot this weekend either.
Yeah.
But he did a good job otherwise.
Yeah, he got through the game. He couldn't stay around for the championship game. The site director had to come umpire the bases in the championship.
Oh, Shane asked if we were ever told more about that 25-minute review during the first game against Minnesota. Yes, I do have more insight on that.
All right, we'll have to get that.
We can get that later this
after
hour.
Robin. Yeah.
The heart of that was Illinois wanted to protest a game.
Oh gosh.
And the umpires, they've had a memo out. They get the league office involved right away now instead of waiting until post game.
Oh.
So part of that review was getting in contact with the league office and explaining the situation and coming to a resolution.
Hey, Robin's really sad that none of the Slim Chickens debris got blown his way, so he can take you for all you're worth. Very sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here we go.
In the morning, Hookup. Phillips, pleasurable. Yes, it's in the house. Let's bring on our guy from HuskerLine.com, Robin Washington. Washington, you have a beef with me already? I just got back in town.
No, I was just saying that, with all the storms, I was hoping maybe like the Slim sign would come flying into my yard and hit my house, and I could, get a little bit of that Slim's money.
Ransom it off back to Hooksy?
Yeah, is that I'm going to get some like encrypted email. If you want.
Yep. It's the Slim's sign in the basement of a poorly lit room. $50,000 and you can have it back.
Yep, that's all I would do.
It's chained up to the wall.
Wow. I just gone for one day. And
let it be known, those buildings, they're solidly built. They're up to code.
Yeah, they passed the test. So no lawsuits or hostage situations this time.
They did. I bet, you know what, though, all this weather had to be good for all your hard landscaping work you've been doing at your house.
Yeah, I'm glad we got it done in time. Now it was able to survive. We had no down branches or anything. So, this is why you put in the work early to survive the wild Nebraska springs and summers.
Awesome. Well, good stuff. We'll watch. Let's talk some hoops, and we'll be centering around the schedule as you got the home onlys, the home and aways, the aways, all the tricks and trades of the schedule. Give me some thoughts. I looked at it and I'm like, man, I really like the way this sets up, especially when you look at your home games and who you're getting at home. There's a few don't likes for sure, but navigate us through it it's kind of break it down and likes, dislikes, tough stretches obviously are going to come along the schedule as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's no such thing as an easy draw because you're playing in the best league in college basketball, and so you're inherently going to play hard teams and hard places, and that's just kind of the life of Big Ten play. So, the downside is you have road onlys at Illinois. What's the other one? Purdue, and so they have some tough single play road games, but you also get Michigan at home. You don't have to go to Ann Arbor. You get a home and home with Michigan State, so at least they have to come here. And you got Iowa as Iowa and Penn State as your other home and away games. So like that part of it, like I thought it was okay, like fairly favorable. The fact that they do get some pretty good home only games. And then it also is good that one of their road only games is at Northwestern, which now I think is becoming like football, where that's essentially another home game. After last year with the way Nebraska fans took over Evanston, that's pretty good. If one of your home only draws is Northwestern, you can turn that thing into another home game, and that's a nice advantage. You don't have to go to Minnesota, which they're kind of one of those teams where they're a completely different squad at home than they are away. And then you have the West Coast games where the LA schools have to come east, and likewise they are much different outside of the Pacific time zone than they are anywhere else. So that there's a lot to like about just kind of the way the draw sets up, but it only matters, like the big thing for me is like how the dates are lined up, when you play who, and what kind of stretches. Like is your difficult stretch early? Is it late? Is it scattered around? Because a lot of times that can kind of dictate how you're going into postseason play with momentum. Nebraska's had some luxuries of, kind of getting all their quote unquote hard teams out of the way early. And then you're able to kind of regroup and bounce back for the back half of the schedule and, go on a little bit of a winning streak and take some momentum into the postseason. So that probably won't be known until, probably at least the summer, maybe the fall. I think early September is probably, I think last year is when they announced the actual dates for the schedule. So the opponents are what they are. There's things, like you said, that you can like and don't like, but the real test now is when those games are being played and just kind of where the most difficult stretches end up, either at the beginning or end of your schedule.
Well, Robin, if you were giving advice out to Husker basketball fans, I know a lot of Husker football fans make that one road trip a year, but right now the basketball team is the team to watch. They're the team to follow. If you were giving advice out there to a fan, the one road venue to go and check out with the schedule, what would you be suggesting?
Good question. I would say, from just a fun standpoint and convenience standpoint, Northwestern. Because that's basically Lincoln East now, where that was a total Husker takeover, and I know a lot of Nebraska fans that went to that game had a pretty darn good time. And the ease of getting there is probably right up there with anything. So that one, the level of competition isn't great, but that's everything else is probably the best.
It's good to see a win,
If you're
right?
if you're just going to like, marquee venues. I've never been to East Lansing, watch a basketball game in East Lansing. So that would probably be up towards the top of my bucket list. And that's kind of a game where Nebraska's had Michigan State's number at home, but has had some real tough times on the road. So you're not going there for like a assured win, but as far as caliber of opponent, historic venue, all that good stuff, I'd probably put Michigan State up there towards the top.
Now, Robin, when it comes to that non-conference schedule, to kind of round out the complete portion of what Nebraska's schedule is going to look like in 2026-27, they have that Boise State game locked in at the Pentagon. They locked in that road neutral site game, whatever you want to call it, against Providence in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. Are there any other marquee opponents? And you said last time we talked that there were some other ones that were maybe in the works. There were some murmurs about that. Have those become advanced talks? Have they rounded it out with any other quality opponents? What's that non-con schedule rounded out to be?
I'd say probably the only other game you're waiting on of significance is, likely another neutral site game. I know Kansas City has got a lot of smoke behind it. Nothing official yet on that front yet, but Kansas City with the opponent potentially being, maybe a old Big 8, Big 12 rematch, and Missouri is a school that has been thrown out there. And that's the last I've heard is that, Nebraska is close towards finalizing a game in Kansas City against Missouri at the T-Mobile Center. But right now that's still unsigned yet. They haven't locked it in just yet. And I think if you get that one on the schedule, then the non-con is plenty. I'm not worried about the rest of the games. Like, you can schedule, Sisters of the Poor for the rest of the games and it'd be just fine. Like people I know get caught up in the non-con and like why they're not playing this, like blue blood gauntlet of games, because you don't need to. Like, you're in the Big Ten. Like, you're got 15 of your 20 conference games are going to be quad ones, and then you're already playing at Creighton. You're playing Providence and a quote unquote neutral site. You got a neutral site against Boise State already, and if you add Missouri with another neutral site, like your schedule strength is on the non-con is already fine, especially considering the opportunities abound that you're going to have in league play. So, I think that the big gripe that fans have is the home non-conference slate, and, having to go to Creighton and then playing all these other bigger name schools in neutral site settings, that doesn't leave much as far as, marquee draws at PBA. But, I think the hope is that the schools and the brands that are coming to Lincoln in conference play should help make up for maybe what it's lacking in the non-con.
Again, we're speaking to Robin Washer with HuskerOnline.com. Washer, you mentioned signed, unsigned in there. We still, I believe, still one unsigned addition out there. Where are we at with Orm? I know you talked about it last week a little bit about it. Confidence still high. Is this just where we're at in the way of the portal and the agents and guys talking back and forth in a contract language, or is there more to it?
No, it's just paperwork. And there's no set time frame for these things to get done. I mean, it could just be sitting on somebody's desk right now waiting to be signed. It's not like it's any intense bargaining sessions going on right now. It's just kind of a formality at this point. And when it gets signed, it gets signed. I talked to Sam last week, and he assured everyone that he is still very much a Husker and will be here for the start of summer workouts next month. And there's no issues there. He understands that fans might be getting nervous that the first portal commitment they have is still technically unsigned, but I wouldn't worry about that. This is just kind of part of the deal when every player has their own representation and you're dealing with all these different people and all these different terms and, the stipulations and all that. It's just kind of part of the deal. And so, like I said, it's taken longer than I'm sure most would like, but I wouldn't put any level of concern on that. Sam's a Husker, and it will get done in a matter of time, just a matter of when that ink finally dries on the signature.
I'd like to think he just spent the first few weeks after his commitment trying to find where a fax machine was, and now he spent the last other few weeks trying to figure out how a fax machine even works. How do I get this over there? I don't know.
He's like, Sam, you don't need to use a fax machine anymore. This isn't 1999 anymore.
I have never used a fax machine in my life. Let it be known. If I was asked to fax something, I would need Google's help, maybe Bill Hooks' help. I don't know.
Yeah, Hooks can run a fax, I'll bet.
Oh boy, God, this is going at me today.
Why does a printer have a phone number? That's what I don't get.
I've used a fax machine. I used to be a sports clerk at the Journal-Star, and we would fax so you know how now the press releases are all emails? Well, they would just fax press releases, and so part of my job was monitoring the fax machine, and it would make this weird beeping noise, and you'd have to go over and see what type of swimming result recap that was going to come through the fax machine and type it up to get it in the paper for the next morning. So Yeah, I live that world. It's not a knock on Hooksy. We're just from a different era.
Robin, real quick, just before we, conclude our time with you today, you've been amazing as always. But I wanted to ask you, just because we talked about the one unsigned, Nebraska still, it seems, has that one roster spot open, and you talked a little bit about how that was going to be more of a traditional walk-on sense, a guy that would come into the program and develop. Is it looking like there's anyone in mind? Has there been anyone trending towards taking that last roster spot? What have you been hearing about the conclusion of Nebraska's roster fulfillment for 2026?
Yeah, not much. And I don't even know if they're really actively recruiting anyone. Like, it's kind of one of those deals where maybe at the end of the cycle, maybe later in the summer, as kind of recruiting pictures for various players start to clear up a little bit and, all the options are on the table, then, maybe a guy can make a decision. Well, I'm not going to go play at some smaller level here where I can, take a chance to prove myself in Nebraska. So, like, it's not anything eminent at all. There's some kids that I know have been thrown out, like the kid from Ogallala, Sawyer Smith, I believe is his name. Like, that's one name that had been thrown around, but I don't know if he just signed with somebody or if he's trending towards, another school. So it's just kind of one of those deals where Nebraska's just letting it all play out. And if there's an unsigned local kid or regional kid that makes sense, that can maybe be another Cale Jacobson, Will Cooper type that, is okay with sitting out and being a scout team guy for, a year, maybe 2 years, maybe longer, then, that's kind of the route that they'll probably go. And the other thing to keep in mind is technically they have one spot, but they have 15 guys because Henry Burt still is on the roster and he doesn't count towards their scholarship limit or their roster limit because he's grandfathered in. So, like, they have a full complement of players. So any other player they take would just be extra. So whatever they take is not going to be anyone that's going to have any illusion of pushing for minutes right away. It'll be a scout team guy that rides the bench and, hopes to maybe take a long-term path towards seeing the court. So not really a priority at this point, and probably won't hear anything on that front if they choose to fill it towards later in the summer, once, like I said, some of this portal or like recruiting options start to shake out for some of those types of players.
Well, Wash, it also, we've been talking about this upcoming season as the everything starts, it's starting to fall in line, whether it be the portal additions, the schedule, all that. Let's talk a little bit about, give us some thoughts about this, not just now, but beyond this year, where the coaches are going to be at, targets they're looking at, what they're looking for as they start to get out in some live appearances out there with the AAU and the summer schedules picking up.
Yeah, they just had the first live evaluation period for high school level players this past weekend, and Nebraska was all over the place at various shoe circuits events around the country, and a lot of focus on the 27 class, a few 2028 recruits that were, priority guys they wanted to watch. I'd probably say the top guy, so to speak, would be Jack Conan. He's a kid from Wisconsin who's a taller shooter type, kind of fits a little bit of that Bryce Sanford mold that, they've been on for a while now. He officially visited last month when, they were kind of hosting all the portal guys. They actually had a couple high school kids on too, and Jack was one of them. So he's been on campus a few times. And so, we'll see kind of what is next. I know Iowa State is pretty involved with him as well. And they just lost one of their top 2027 targets to Iowa State and Donovan Davis. So, that's just one name to keep an eye on. But there's a few others that, they've been watching and are looking at that, have kind of emerged as maybe their top of the list targets for 27. And like I said, they're also getting in on 28, including a kid that's technically a in-state player, Kalen Steinbeck, who is he's playing at Council Bluffs, Abraham Lincoln right now, but he's originally from North Platte, actually played a year of high school at Blair and then moved out to Council Bluffs. He just got his first college offer from Nebraska, and he unofficially visited Lincoln last fall, and grew up a Husker fan. Said it was a dream come true to get a Nebraska offer. So it seems like things are trending well on that front, and for a player that I think is just scratching the surface on his kind of recruitment and his player development, that could be a notable kind of chess move once again by Nebraska to be by far the first one out in front on a player like that could end up being pretty good when all said and done.
Awesome. Well, Washington, man, appreciate your time as always, my friend. Thanks for all the updates, man. Appreciate you. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, fellas. See you later.
Robin Watson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff from him. Let's take a break and come back with a rules discussion of some sorts when we return.
Yeah, I got a call during the last break before I called Robin. It was a nice lady asking, hey, could we discuss what happened with softball with the ball that ran up and hit the GCU batter in the foot when it looked like she kicked out at it?
I would also like an explanation on that.
So I actually got an explanation on that. And then you can explain to our lovely people in the chat, Elijah, why it took 25 minutes for the umpires to do what they needed to do. So we can have that whole discussion.
Got all that coming up.
Well, do you see Bridgestone? Maybe we could put this in stories that we missed. The new golf ball they released.
I heard about it, but I did not.
The all black cover.
Come on, I got issues.
Good luck finding that thing if it's anywhere but the fairway. All black golf ball though, $100 for 1 dozen.
So I'm gonna guess that I can't play with that at night.
I don't think you can play with mini golf balls at night, actually,
unless they're glow in the dark.
Yeah,
and they're.
That's right. Fluorescent golf balls, a favorite of Bill Hooks.
No,
the golf course. There's a little 9-hole spot right next to my grandma's house in Denver, and they do night golf every single Friday during the summer.
It's a fun little thing. A lot of event stuff. It's not the same golf ball. It's a different golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
Either whether different technology or some of them will have like little holes through the middle of them where you can put those little glow sticks you break. You just little ones and you pop them in there. They don't.
Up now. They're closer to range balls.
Yeah.
Which probably even a little worse.
Range balls. When was the last time, Hooksy? When was the last time you got out to the driving range?
Last Wednesday.
Okay.
I only do it. I need to do it more. I get bored on the range pretty quick. So I typically only hit balls on the range before I'm playing.
What's your range routine? If you were to just go out there and practice, you don't have one, do you?
Yeah, I do.
You'll hit driver 40
I take 2 clubs to the range.
Okay.
When I get I take 2 clubs and a beverage. It's a 7-iron and a driver.
You're just
That's all I do.
He's a gripping and ripping guy.
Yeah, it's a 7-iron and a driver. I should be better about doing that, but I feel my whole thing with the ranges is just getting kind of locked into a slot. It doesn't matter. I'm not out there looking at distances.
Yeah,
I feel like I already know them.
Yes.
Right, but I just go with the 7-iron and a driver and get loose, and I'm like, all right, man, feels pretty good today. Or oh crap.
So I loosen up. I start off with my 9, kind of going some nice half swings, and this might be a terrible routine. So many things in the stream can tell you
it's terrible.
But so it's just I'm hitting a couple nice 9 light and loose, get warmed up, and then I'm going full power 9 for a couple of shots, full power 8 for a couple of shots, 7, 6. I'll see if I can hit a 5. I should know within 2 shots if I can hit a 5 that day or not. Usually the answer is no. And then I go back up to the top and do 1 shot each of 9, 8, 7, 6. Make sure I hit clean contact with each of those. Once I hit the clean contact with each of those with the 1 shot, then I go off and just rip driver till I'm out of balls.
I can probably honestly tell you that I might hit less than 12 balls on the range too before a round.
See, I don't like hitting the range before the round, especially if you're playing off of mats.
Yeah,
if you're range off of mats, that's gonna do more damage to my game than anything.
Yesterday I played in the scramble out at Cordy Oaks. Beautiful. They've done a lot of great things out there with that golf course. Did not hit 1 range ball. Just took my swing stick and kind of got loose in the first box, and I probably hit the ball better than I've hit it in 6 months.
Yep. Boy, you guys are a lot more professional than me and my buddies. We just show up to the range. Oh, great. And then we just show up to the old what is it, the clubhouse? We go up there, check in. Hey, great. We get our
You're
card.
you're on the box.
Yep, and then we're in the box. It's a hey, if we play like crap, we play like crap. If we don't, we're gripping and ripping, baby. We're doing it. That's just being young, dumb, and stupid.
Now my boys, and they're going to be way better than I am ever at golf once you get to the point, but they will go out and literally say, can you drop me off at the range and hit 2 hours worth of golf balls and not play? Odd.
I see that's mystifying to me because like I understand taking like batting practice hacks. Like I could sit in a batting cage and take like an hour 30 worth of hacks. I love fixing my swing. I can't do it with golf. Just get me out there. Let me play 18.
It depends. Are you just spraying on the range, or are you they set up like the flags and the yardage out there? Are you aiming for some aiming for some things makes it fun?
My boys will actually do it the right. Like honestly, they'll get their whole bag out. They'll carry the bag down. They'll hit every iron in their bag, every wood in their bag. They'll clean them off. They'll do the whole routine.
That's what you got to do.
And then call me and say, Dad, can I buy this? We're gonna eat food.
All right, here we go, fellas.
Welcome back to the Morning Hookup. Special thanks there to Robin Watch, HustlerOnline.com.
Did Lil Jon make a single song that wasn't a club banger?
Yeah. Nope. Hey, look, we're gonna
every song in his catalog.
It's just
needs
club
to be played
banger
at the club,
yes.
And it will always play well.
Or at a house party. It works at a house party too. If you ever partake in that field.
I'm past my house party days.
I'm sure you are.
I'm way past them.
Turns out once you turn 27, it's no longer a house party. It's like a charcuterie party.
Hey, let's jump into this real quick. We'll get to this day in sports later on, but we had a call.
I'm slightly upset. I'm not a charcuterie guy.
Oh, God.
I don't know, man. I love a little grab and go snack. I can't lie. Anything that's like munchable. That could be taken so many ways.
Ooh, charcuterie board and wine, and we're gonna sit around and talk about our feelings too.
You just want to eat a steak and drink a beer.
We're totally charcuterie people at our house for sure. We're a little older, but like there are a couple. Maybe it could be twice a night, twice a week at night, where we're like with baseball and coming home. We're like, hey, just make a little charcuterie board and some drinks, and that's what we'll do for dinner.
That's smart. But the Hookses live in the upper crust of society.
No, man, we're cutting our own cheese. I'm not like ordering it in.
Wait.
We're cutting our own cheese.
We ordered it from France.
We ordered it from France. Just got here.
We're gonna slice off
dry iced.
Yeah, that's right. We got a cheese board.
It's the like, cheese.
It's like you're just oozing money.
It's the cheese that you wanted. I got it for.
He's
Okay.
got the whole leg of ham out there, and he's slicing it thin.
Look, I've been married almost 26 years for a reason. Okay, do it right.
Good man.
Hey, let's go real quick. I know we got a few moments left. We had a call come in about the softball situation, and then also with the 25-minute review. Let's get through those because there were some big-time questions. The 25-minute review real quick. Elijah, go through that real quick, and then Justin, we'll get to the softball.
We'll start off with that because that's an interesting situation. That comes after there's been 2 protested games in Big Ten baseball this year. The Big Ten was not happy with that, so they sent out a memo to all the coaches and the teams. If there's a game protest, get in contact with the league office. We will settle it in the moment, as opposed to waiting afterwards and potentially having to replay a game or yada, yada, yada. Anyway, that 25-minute review, Illinois was protesting based on the call of no runners lane interference at first. Illinois then attempted to protest the game. The Big Ten officials had to go leave, contact the league offices. They settled it in the moment. The league offices said, no, we're not going to uphold this protest. Play on.
Okay, there you go.
So that's why
I think there was a lot of questions. Like, why are we waiting?
So the review itself was quick. But then Illinois attempted to protest the game, which essentially would mean that if the protest is upheld, you'd have to go back and replay the game from that point once you finish the game. The Big Ten says, we're not going to screw around with this. Contact us. They said, no, we're not going to pull the protest. Therefore, it was play on, and the game was not even played under protest.
Perfect.
That's what went down. That's what took 25 minutes.
Awesome. And then on the softball, the ball rolls up, leg.
Yeah, so it was a pitch in the dirt. It was a breaking ball, and it bounces up and hits the GCU batter in the foot. Well, now you have a couple questions to answer. Does that count as a hit by pitch? Yes. Since it made contact with the body after it hit the dirt, yes, it counts as a hit by pitch. Now, was it incidental contact? Did the batter make an attempt to actually, move into the path of the ball in order to receive contact from the ball? In this instance, it was adjudicated that the batter in question with the back foot attempted to maneuver the foot to get out of the path of the ball oncoming. And so when the ball then makes contact, it is then incidental because of a carom off the ground. So therefore a hit by pitch is awarded. And when they went back to review, you have to have indisputable evidence that there was a direct, deliberate maneuver to move a part of the body into the path of the oncoming ball. And that was not adjudicated. It was ruled as incidental contact. So therefore the batter was awarded first base.
I did think from my view that you could see the flexion of her foot.
Mm-hmm.
She moved her toes up at the end to make sure it would strike her toes. I thought you could see pretty clearly there's an attempt to get into the way. I understand the umpires, though, in that moment, not wanting to make that call and saying you could make the strong argument here that she's trying to get out of the way and the ball took an unpredictable bounce, which it tends to do whenever it's spinning around and whatnot. I thought it was pretty clear, though. You could see her move her toes more into the path of the softball. I can understand it. Where the umpires are coming from, I should say, I can understand it. I don't agree with them. But I think given the moment of the game, likely why that call was made.
Yeah.
It should be noted the rulebook actually says for a hit by pitch, there's nothing with getting it. You're required by the rulebook to make an attempt to get out of the way of the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to get raked across the coals if you as an umpire have some guy throwing 90s and the dude doesn't move and it hits him. You try to keep him in the box. So it's more generally defined as if you make an attempt to get into the way of it is whenever they're going to hold you. But technically the rule book says you have to make an attempt to get out of the way.
Yeah, but if you get beamed with 98, you're going to get a whole bunch of jeers and boos and probably some tomatoes thrown at you because we love fresh produce.
Well done, guys. There you go.
I just say generally turn the back into it and you're good.
Just do the right thing.
The little shoulder roll.
Yeah. Coming up, boy, the night and the NBA, NHL, and a whole lot more with Brian Munson. Sit back, relax. We'll be right back.
Why not call Reynolds Design and Remodeling and enjoy your home the way you want it to be?
I'm Pam Magner, General Manager. We can create that beautiful, functional kitchen you've always wanted with classic professional design, cabinetry, and countertops. It truly is an investment in your home's value.
A beautiful kitchen for you from Reynolds Design and Remodeling. Start today at reynoldsdesignremodel.com.
You got your very own handyman to help remodel your home.
Craig, tell us about the Icera skirted toilet you purchased from Handyman. The tank and bowl is kind of all one piece. A lot of the old ones kind of swooped in under the bowl, and then you have the bolts sticking up with covers on the bolts. You bump them and those covers pop off, and these are more of a flush. They're kind of smooth all the way around. They've got two little pop-out access plugs to bolt them down, so you don't see any of that. A lot easier to clean and wipe down. My wife really enjoyed that. We added another Toto bidet for the master bath. This one has a remote on the wall. All kinds of different options from disinfection, heated seating. There's a dryer function. Pretty exciting stuff.
Toilet technology has come a long way, from skirted toilets to glazed coatings and luxury bidet attachments. See what a new toilet can do for you during Handyman's toilet sale in May. Under the arch on Sun Valley Boulevard, Lincoln.
Handyman.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3. Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Reaction continues to come in to the nearly $1.7 billion fund set up in exchange for President Trump dropping his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS. ABC Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl has more.
The top lawyer for the Treasury Department abruptly resigned within hours of this agreement being announced. He is Brian Morrissey, and ABC News has learned that Morrissey expressed concerns about the terms of this agreement before resigning. Democrats, meanwhile, are saying that this is corrupt, possibly illegal, an effort to take taxpayer money and to give it to supporters of the president.
The acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, President Trump's former personal attorney, is being questioned about it this morning on Capitol Hill. At the White House today, the president walked around the construction site of the new ballroom for which congressional Republicans are trying to appropriate.
This is a monthly test of the Emergency Alert System for broadcast stations and cable systems of Nebraska in cooperation with the FCC and other government authorities. Equipment is being tested that can quickly provide warnings during emergencies. If this had been an actual emergency, official information, news, or instructions would have followed the alert tone. This concludes this test of the Emergency Alert System.
Center. Police say the two teenage suspects took their own lives after the shooting. Russian President Vladimir Putin traveling to Beijing just days after President Trump's meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. This is ABC News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
Another outbreak of severe weather in southeast Nebraska. Good morning, I'm Jeff Motes. We're up to 51 degrees at KFOR. Storm assessment teams will be out again today, this time across southeast Nebraska, following severe weather Monday that produced at least 5 reports of tornadoes between Jefferson and Richardson counties. At one point late Monday afternoon, Pawnee City and Pawnee County was under a tornado emergency due to a reported large tornado on the ground heading for that community.
The reason for the tornado emergency is we did have the confirmed sighting of a tornado on the ground with multiple vortices.
Megan Buckley is the emergency manager for Pawnee and Johnson counties and tells KFOR News radar data from that twister indicated that it could have been an EF2 or higher tornado, and it was tracking toward Pawnee City. KFOR News asked meteorologist Dirk Peterson at the National Weather Service in Valley if any damage had been reported from that area.
We do plan on heading down into that area because a lot of times it's not necessarily stuff that affects that city. It could be forecasted to go through there, and that's why we issue the warning.
Buckley, though, adds that there was storm damage in Johnson County, but it's not clear if it was due to a tornado or damaging wind.
That is part of what we are trying to determine with the damage assessments and getting the drone footage in the air. We did not have any confirmed spotter reports of touchdown.
But tornadoes were also reported near Humboldt and Falls City in Richardson County. The other problem from Monday, flooding in Beatrice. Several major intersections were affected by flash flooding. 1 to 2 inches of water deaths were reported. Several cars were also stranded because of the flood water. Some power poles were down by Elk Creek, and a large tree was down by Tecumseh in Johnson County from the severe weather. Damage to some homes and trees were also reported around Auburn in Nemaha County. Though today it looks like it's going to be very quiet, mostly sunny this afternoon, a high of 61. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 40, and then increasing clouds tomorrow, the high of 61. It's 51 now. I'm Jeff Motes, KFOR News.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855.
This is the Morning Hookup. KFOR.
Welcome back to the Morning Hook. Again, happy Tuesday. Hour number 2. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're having some umpire discussions during the break. I think to me as a coach, there's an art, right, to talking to an umpire.
Oh, yeah.
There's an art, and I think a lot of people miss it, coaching-wise. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an art to doing it.
Mm-hmm. There's
I also
a way
saw
you
some
speak
things
to
that
them.
really bothered me over the weekend. Again, I don't get bothered. I get bothered with youth sports when it looks like the coaching doesn't have those kids' best interest.
Mm-hmm.
There was a kid there were 2 situations this weekend. And again, I think the youth coaches do it right, do it for the kids from the healthy standpoint. Like they're 11. We played a game. Kid was on the bump, 6 innings. 6 innings. We won the game. 6 innings, complete game, 105 pitches.
Oh, Lord. And what age group?
11.
Dude, why are we throwing 105 pitches at 11?
That gets me to the point I want to like instruct or help people.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing, the championship game, kid goes 5 innings, 75 pitches. Not bad. But I'm telling you, 40% breaking balls. And he was throwing hard, and he was ripping through that breaking ball. I'm not going to call it a good one because they're 11. But I'm like, we're ripping the kid's arm apart at 11.
You shouldn't throw a curveball until you're 12.
But what if it's nasty though?
But like you're not going to make the majors at 12.
Elbows are temporary, wins are forever.
Yes, you're going to remember.
You are part of the problem.
You're going to remember the championship game on May 17th in Des Moines, Iowa, that you beat some team out of Lincoln.
Yeah,
your elbow will be fine.
If you threw a 1-hitter, you are. Get that ball signed.
Everybody's getting the surgery now. They all come back great.
You come back better.
It's just it's so crummy. It's crummy.
Those are just things that
just develop your other players. It's not that hard. Like, I don't know. My philosophy as a youth coach was always, hey, I'll trade. Like, I don't mind trading wins and losses. How good are our guys getting as the course of the season? Like me and my mom used to get together because we were tag teaming the coaching thing. We were like, we put together development plans for the kids. We were like, what do we want to see them noticeably get better at? Because our process was not get the wins and losses. It was how can I actually get these kids equipped for what they're going to see at the middle and high school level. So it was always that stuff. So we had like development plans, like, hey, what do you need to be working on? What is a natural progression? What's an above natural progression? You know, what kind of skills do we need to be developing? And we were pretty successful. Like, we put a lot of kids in the middle and high school programs, and they played a lot of winning basketball right away. And it's because you teach them the proper things and you don't tax their bodies. And then, you know, they still have a natural love for the game because you make it fun while you're doing it. Like, you make them fall in love with the portion of development and wanting to get better. And that's what cultivates the learning environment for a lot of these kids. So I don't know. I was always okay with trading wins and losses. Maybe that makes me a loser and I don't really care, but it's all about the kids at the end of the day.
Speaking of naturally getting better, should the Thunder realize that Wembanyama's on the court?
Dude, that was a poke at you. That guy's a freakazoid, man.
What a game last night. 122-115. Double OT. San Antonio goes down there and steals one. And in an electrifying game where, I mean, again, you're going to look at what Wemby did at 41 and 24. But there's so many other parts of this game. And Justin, you and I talked about this before the show of what and who the X factors are going to be. And there are a few of them in this matchup. I do like the way the Thunder were trying to get after Wemby with Caruso, keeping him out of there. He found his way a lot of ways. But this series, obviously, you got two of the best players on the planet, Shea and Wembanyama. But that supporting cast is going to win and lose this series. On the one side last night, Dylan Harper, boy, He's become special. 24-11 last night. Castle out there, 17-6. Other side, Williams, really good last night, 26-7. Shea, I mean, not the best shooting night, 7 of 23, but he was 24 and 12 assists last night. Caruso, dynamic, 31 points last night in that affair. Just missing some of the other supporting cast might have been the difference in this game last night.
I mean, Ryan ate 40 times, and he's like watched a lot of basketball for 40 years. Wemby's doing things I've never seen an athlete do on the court. The guy looks like he's playing on a Nerf hoop right now. It's unbelievable. And then that jerk has the audacity to pull it from 28 feet, trailing by 3, and says, "You know what? Bang, snipe piece.
Cash.
Here you go. This one's water from basically 35." And I'm like, what a complete and utter jerk. Like at that point, like I talk about it. There's scales of rich in life. Like there's like, oh, you have money, you're pretty rich. And then there's just like the screw you kind of rich people where it's like, why do you need that much money? And then there's genuine, like, you're just a straight up jerk for having that much money. Like there's a difference between like, hey, you're good at basketball, or wow, like you're kind of a jerk for that. Or like Wembanyama's at the point where it's like, wow, you're just really a jerk for being this good. And it's like not your fault. I just hate you because of how good you are at your sport. Like it's genuinely impressive that a guy that big can be that fluid and look that good handling a basketball.
What might be dangerous is the Spurs won that game shooting 30% from 3. 13 of 43 on the game. Does that concern you, Justice, that this wasn't some flamethrower 3-point shooting performance?
Did you see how many corner threes they hit?
It felt like they hit every single one they took, but they missed every single one that wasn't a corner 3.
Yeah, exactly.
43.
And who gives them up the most?
The Thunder give them up the most, and the Spurs take the most in terms of corner threes in the NBA. Like that's what's going to decide the series. Like, hey, you play the percentages, and I think what really killed the Thunder was a lot of second chance points, and it felt like a lot of bounces. There were a lot of Spurs in the area where the basketball was. They had an intention. There was hustle. I thought early on the
Spurs did out rebound the Thunder by 21.
Yeah, I thought they set the physical tone not only on the defensive end but on the glass early. I thought they were really getting after it, and I think. Listen, it's an aside, but I think the media coverage of this series has been so disingenuous from the get-go. I was telling Hoaxie, I was complaining about Tarico all day long, and I'm like, we're talking about free throw narratives early in the game when this is a legitimate chess match going on. Like, I like that they pointed out that the Spurs' defensive game plan was really working early on. I'm like, yeah, it really is. Like, it is stifling right now. But this whole free throw narrative and the Wembanyama stuff. It's like, dude, I get this is all special, but like, can we talk about Steph Castle? Can we talk about how Dylan Harper's got a wider finishing menu than a freaking buffet? I mean, there is so much talent, so much young talent, so much great coaching in this series, and all we can talk about is free throws, fouling, and physicality. It is such a disingenuous bunch of media bull crap that is going on and trying to push this narrative a certain way. Watch the basketball game. This is an incredible series that we have in front of us. Like some of the stuff we were seeing late game last night between the Mitch Johnson zone and some of the late game stuff that he was running and the Mark Dagnall out of bounds plays to get them late clock shots. Like there was some great stuff happening. Great coaches, great design, great X's and O's, a lot of elite young talent on the floor. And all we can talk about is physicality, fouling, and free throws. Give me a break.
Well said. Knocked it out of the park. Boys, also on the flip side, if you're watching hockey.
Oh, that was electric.
Again,
now we're speaking
the
my
Eastern
language.
Conference Finals on the NBA side will commence tonight. Cavs, Knicks tonight. You'll have that going on. But my goodness, that had my attention last night for a long time. The Sabres owned that game the entire way through. Game 7, overtime, the Canadians advance. What a game.
Felt like Buffalo had all the momentum going into overtime.
Buffalo ends up being sad again.
Felt like they were the team. Once overtime started, it felt like it was just a matter of time before Buffalo was going to go win that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that's the beautiful thing about playoff hockey, about Game 7 hockey, about Game 7 overtime hockey. Montreal locked back in. They got the goal. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
All that matters. Hey, breaking news via John Rothstein on the show. Nebraska and St. Louis will begin a 2-year exhibition series on October 9th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The return game to, I believe it's Chaffetz Arena in 2027-2028. So Nebraska and St. Louis locked in exhibition series starting on October 9th. So you have 2 exhibition games coming up this year, one in Provo and one at home at PBA against St. Louis.
Okay.
There you go.
Another piece of breaking news here that we could maybe get to this. I was going to throw this into stories that we missed at the end, but I might as well just mention it now.
Throw it now.
We just had about 20 minutes ago the first ABS challenge in college baseball history. Down in Hoover, they have the ABS system for the SEC tournament.
What?
Ole Miss challenged a call. The umpire got it right. It was a ball, making it 3-2. This was in the top half of the first inning. You could tell the Ole Miss catcher has this look about him, like the first close one he was going to challenge.
Oh, he was just
he was itching to do it.
He was itching. He goes
here.
He goes to the top of the head. He was so excited to go to the top of his head quickly. And
he shakes it like this.
Yeah, it was quick. And he was shaking his head and laughing afterwards after he didn't get it right. But first ABS challenge, an unsuccessful challenge by Ole Miss, the catcher for Ole Miss.
Okay.
Made it a 3-2 count. It didn't really matter, but the Missouri dugout was loving it afterwards.
Hey,
that's awesome.
Hey, and that should just go to tell you, the robots ain't always right.
No, the umpires are.
The umpires
are always right.
That's right. That's right. Your call stands, baby.
Reject modernity, embrace tradition.
Classic.
Exactly.
Boy, your Avs will get it off tonight. They're going to get that Western Conference final started in Colorado tonight. Big time favorites at home, 8:00. No, tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow. I apologize.
Tomorrow,
Tuesday.
Yeah, because I'll be here doing a Salt Dogs game, and I'm lucky we just got that TV fixed over in the KF4 studio. It's back on and running. So,
hey,
thank you.
Not have come over. And
hey, what force do you plan on going to find
Forest.
another backup goalie for this series? Just asking for a friend here.
I think we're going with the oak, maybe the hickory this time around.
Okay.
We have Blackwood and Wedgwood, they're kind of some.
If I see
harder to
Jimmy
find.
Chitwood, coming to net, old Hickory Hoosiers reference there. If I see Jimmy Chitwood in net for the Avs, I might just take my ball and go home.
What I will say here is, despite the regular season, Vegas, they're an aging team. The Avs are better. I still think, from a playoff experience point of view and from just the talent that they have, Vegas will be the best test for the Avs that they've seen thus far. The Avs are still by far and away a better hockey team. What does that mean? I don't know, but I think this one will probably be a more tightly contested series. I don't think you'll be getting a 9-6 game in game one like we saw in game one with the Minnesota Wild. It's an experienced, it's a savvy veteran Vegas Golden Knights team that I think knew when to turn it on this season, and they've turned it on in the postseason. The Avs are by far and away the best team they have played in this postseason run. But to Vegas's credit, I think they're the best team the Avs have played. So I think this will be interesting. I still favor the Avs pretty heavily in this series, but it'll be a bigger test than they face.
Are you on a collision course? Does it feel like to you we're on a collision course for the Avalanche Hurricanes? Is that what it feel like? Because if we get that Stanley Cup Finals, that is appointment television. That is appointment playoff hockey to view.
That'll be very fun. I think that's the course we're headed down. I think the Hurricanes will probably be more tested by Montreal.
Yep.
I'll say the same thing. It's kind of the same story over in the East. Montreal will be a better test than what Carolina's faced thus far. Carolina hasn't really faced much. The Avs haven't really faced much. Minnesota's the best team thus far, but they were a little bit banged up. So Vegas will be the best test they faced so far, but it feels like it should be Carolina, and they play the games for a reason, but it should be Carolina and Colorado. And if it is, I think that is a win. That is a win for neutral fans everywhere.
Yes. Oh man, great stuff. Again, they'll kick that off tomorrow, 8:00 ESPN, with that conference finals. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll flip it up again and go with Brian Monson, HuskerOnline.com.
Bet that.
Yeah, buddy.
I love that we have ABS challenges in college baseball.
I didn't even know they were doing that.
Because Hoover's got a minor league team. Is that right?
I believe that's correct.
Remember the Hoover football, high school football?
Yep. Yeah, I know what you're talking
behind
about.
that guy. Ross. What was the coach's name?
Hoover is the former home of the Birmingham Barons.
Oh,
though they no longer have active minor league baseball, they still host games there. Therefore, they
when
have
did
the
it
ABS
stop?
system.
Was that the no? Were they
until 2012, 88 to 2012? So Jordan did play.
He did play down there then.
I guess the ABS probably won't help Purdue, but do you know that Purdue hasn't won a single Big Ten baseball tournament game since they put a tarp on their field and snuck into the Big Ten tournament?
Won one?
No, they have. They just haven't won one since they put a tarp on their field and snuck into the Big Ten tournament in 2022.
Karma. Mizzou just hit a home run inside the game.
Boom!
That's what I'm talking about.
405 feet.
Whew!
What?
108 off the bat, 405 feet.
goodness.
Two,
You know
two
what
run
that?
shot. tie
You know what
game.
that ball was? Destroyed. That sucker's gone.
She gone
into the parking lot.
Just like the ex-girlfriend, that one's never coming back.
Classic.
It's great.
That was a bomb.
I got to break that out on the broadcast one of these days. What do you think? Yes?
You have to pick the right broadcast.
Had to pick the right broadcast. Like a blowout that's just completely off the rails.
Yep, exactly.
It can't be a tight ball game. That's not a tight ball game call.
No.
It's just like a 17-2 ball game. Somebody slugs one to make it 19-2. Just like the ex-girlfriend, that one's never coming back.
No one's listening anyway.
Who gives it? Nobody.
Who cares? No one's listening anyway. Well, he's just pot drunk on the mic. God bless Major League.
My favorite movie of all time. That's an interesting home and home with a little preseason with St. Louis. It's interesting. You know, I was busy all weekend for sure with baseball, but you know what I did not do, which it leads to what we talked about last week about golf. I watched a very low number of shots with the PGA Championship.
Same.
Not because of who won. I think it's awesome. Ride the winner. And I had time, but I wasn't interested.
I flipped it on Sunday, be like, oh, maybe I get to see the entry the last few holes, and it's
wasn't
already
interesting.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like,
oh, it's already over.
Good.
Awesome. That needs to go eagle to get back in contention here down the stretch. By the time
less interesting.
By the time I flipped on, Rye was already done.
The most interesting is that how bad Bryson has become.
His 3D printed irons are.
I mean, it was good.
We're getting going here, fellas.
Welcome back to the morning hookup. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're our guy, hustleonline.com. Brian Munson. B, what's up?
What's up, dude?
No, up here, man. The last 4 days, everybody's just been dodging storms up here.
The Dominator.
Yeah, I saw like when those, I was just mentioning offline, I said, when you have those funny looking vehicles with the radar dishes show up in the back of the vehicles, you typically want to get out of town. Mm-hmm. Those are like a stay away from kind of thing, unless you're there for the fireworks.
I would have been really worried if they unleashed Dorothy into the sky.
Right? Yeah, no doubt.
It's a little girl, not even in Technicolor. Dude. She's in black and white flying through the sky.
But you have the red shoes, so the red shoes make up for it.
Man.
Hey, real quick, Brian, if you were going to name a storm chasing vehicle, what would you name it? I was kicking around for KFOR. We should call it the Instigator, because we got a lot of people who like to rage bait around here. We got a lot of people who like to stir up controversy, me included. What are you naming a storm chasing vehicle? Yeah, it is mostly me.
Nemesis kind of comes to mind. Yeah, I like the Nemesis thing. I always tried to find a team that I worked on here, like in my regular day-to-day group, where I could put together like Nemesis as an acronym for the team, because I always felt like that was really cool. So like network, engineering, whatever, like something like that to start out with. But Nemesis would be like the name of the car, I think, that I would drive around in, that would stake itself into the ground when I pushed the buttons and keep it from blowing away, and, you know, released all the sensors into the tornado or whatever. I think that would be, I think Nemesis is a cool name.
We're speaking of Brian Munson with HuskerOnline.com.
For a Husker related name, could you go Sue, Fear a Mirror?
Yeah, I got a dog named Sue, S-U-H. So that would be that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I got all my dogs. All my dogs have always been named after Huskers. You know, so actually Husker, Devaney, Frazier, Brooke for Beringer, Sue, and I got Ozzy for Osborne. So yeah, it's I've always had something named after I got two boys named after former Husker. probably got a problem. It's probably what I really got.
Well, you have some great candidates. You could go Matt for the next dog, EJ,
I actually am hoping to do a red lab because I'm gonna call it Jarvis for red wine.
Okay. Oh,
good.
I like
Look at this.
that.
I thought you were
Yeah, I
saying,
like to do something. Like to do something like that.
Man, this is good stuff. Hey, Brian, I want to get a flip it over to a little recruiting and just as for everyone out there that there's a lot of names, obviously look at the future 27, 28, but kind of give us a big view of lay of the land from the geographical standpoint, where a lot in the country, where the coaches will be targeting. Is there a specific area that they'll look at to bring in the new talent in the future for Nebraska?
Well, I think that, I've wanted to keep telling myself that, beyond in-state, that the 500-mile geographic radius of Nebraska still mattered. And I think I keep kind of proving that hypothesis wrong. NIL and shared revenue and all that good stuff. It's kind of the great equalizer for distance. I think still there's some kids that, just have a fundamental thing about trying to stay closer to home. But when it comes to money being an underlying factor, financial compensation, they typically find a way to kind of look around some of that, where staying home might still be important, but if you're getting X amount more from such and such university that's 800,000 miles away, it kind of tears down all the barriers. So I do feel like Nebraska still treats in-home kids, with a certain degree of, trying, being a little bit more special. And I know that it probably doesn't look great with Parrish Jr. just getting an offer from Westside yesterday and chasing, 5, 6, 7 other D1 offers that he's already got, or the Malcolm offensive tackle, or whatever. But I do feel like that they don't try to stay as regional as what they once did. I think that they would, if they can recruit a kid regionally, that it does make sense geographically to kind of go ahead and do it. But I think that they're kind of more of a national based, kind of organization now. So they're spending a lot of time in Florida. They're spending some time down in Texas. They got some guys out in California, but I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff around the Great Lakes guys. They got guys in Illinois and Minnesota. So they're, and obviously up in the Northeast, they're trying to stay relevant. And they've still been trying to kind of kick the door into, into Pennsylvania, up there into the Mid-Atlantic. And they've just not really been kind of able to gain a stakehold up there, but it's going to be hit or miss. And then as much as, you probably don't want to can't say I've ever said this before, but they're even going into upstate New York, into Rochester. And that's kind of interesting to me too. So they are all over the place. They really fanned out. They covered a lot of ground during the evaluation period. If you go back and take a look at the official visitors that have been kind of added here, over the last day and a half or so, linebacker from Illinois, defensive tackle from Minnesota. It's pretty wild, kind of seeing where some of these guys are kind of coming in from. But I mean, Nebraska is willing to go ahead and just say they're willing to go out there and find the talent, and that NIL and shared rev, kind of is the great equalizer.
With some of the in-state talent, how do you see Nebraska divvying up their time? Because it does feel like there's a good crop of in-state kids, especially along the offensive line here in the next year or two. Whenever you look at DeWard from Malcolm, you have Cottrell from Ashland Greenwood, you have Parrish you just offered out of Omaha. Is there a proper way to split time? How is this staff handling the in-state v. out-of-state recruitment with kind of allocation of time, allocation of resources, who's going where?
Well, that's a great point. I mean, I think it all comes down to, the fact that they've only offered one of the two 2028 offensive linemen really kind of tells a pretty telling story, I think, to me, that, where, they feel like Parrish is ahead, as far as a guy that they feel like that they can get to compete at the next level for the Big Ten. Cottrell, Nebraska, once Jeep Wade kind of got into the office, had a chance to look at the track numbers, watch the film. Matt Rule goes out there and watches a basketball game. They make an offer to Cottrell. I think it then kind of comes into this natural kind of prioritization. You go back to your board, you look at all your offers, you say, okay, these offers are, these guys aren't going to consider Nebraska. These guys are going to be, X amount of dollars to kind of go and get. And these are the top paying guys, the guys that we're going to have to go ahead and spend a premium on. And you're going to have to find balance. You're going to have to find balance on your board when it comes to money. You have to find balance on your board when it comes to talent. And then I think you have to find that what you're talking about, like when it comes to, how do you kind of keep everybody happy? How do you, if a Barrett Cottrell, for example, doesn't go to Nebraska, there's going to be some disappointed people. And, same thing about Parrish. It's going to be one of those things like where people will go back and they will remember it, particularly if they go on to have a long, lengthy, productive career at Iowa, which would really turn the knife. So I think it really, for Nebraska though, they're down to like not wanting to serve two masters, like what Matt Rule had said, where it comes to like, look, you got to have an X amount of number of in-state kids, and then you got to still go be successful. And sometimes those two things, like, they don't add up. You have to go find the right players that assist you in being successful. And sometimes they're under your noses, and most times I think we would all agree they're not. And I think though that there's still a barrier there, or a belief system that, Nebraska still needs to take all the in-state kids that they can. And I think it's now down to who are the right guys and who are the guys that can really help us out, especially in the Big Ten. That's a bit of a different monster in itself, like when it comes to the evaluation and trying to figure out those guys. But I think, Cottrell still hasn't really been too talkative. He has not really come out and said, I'm going to take official visits here, and here. Last time I talked with him, he didn't have an official visit set up to Nebraska yet. So, and then talking to Parrish yesterday after he got the offer, it really changed from, I don't have to go to Nebraska now to go to camp to earn an offer. I'm going to go take my visits now to Nebraska and make sure I start building that relationship even further with Coach Wade and the other coaches. So I think that's developing with Parrish, and we'll see how it kind of goes. But I'm kind of keeping an eye on Cottrell right now to see if he ends up deciding, that he isn't even going to take another visit to Nebraska. I think that's going to be an interesting story as we move closer to June.
Brian, you talked about acquiring talent that could really help elevate this football program and really help best serve the interests of this football program. When that comes to the classes of 2027 and 2028, where are those positions primarily? What position groups are you looking at? And who are some names that you're looking at that Nebraska's really trending for right now?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I think that people are kind of coming around to what we've been kind of talking about for years, at least the last year with the defensive line, where we never saw, the kind of replacement guys for the polar bear and Ty Robinson. We just never saw those guys kind of backfill into it. So I think defensive line is a big thing. I think like a Zamar Tooks or, a Nehemiah Umbadi that just mentioned that he's coming in for a visit this weekend, or forgetting his last name. I don't have my computer up at the moment, but there's a Trey Demontagnic, I think his name is, from Tampa. He'll be in the first weekend in June. And then I think you have to shift the other side of the football. I think offensive line, it's a critical spot in the class for offensive line this year and next year. I think you're still looking for some guys to kind of fit in around Erickson, who I think maybe is more of a right guard than actually a true tackle. So I think you're looking for some versatility. And I think you're looking for some guys that can play out there, out there on the edge. So you got like a Timmy Alou from Georgia that's coming in, Jordan Ogbanama that's coming in as well, for both Georgia guys. So I think in the trenches is first. I think then you kind of have to shift your focus then back over to the other side of the football, and then I think you're looking at linebacker. I think linebacker has been one of those really interesting positions that it has to make a big change around what the defense was before, this last season when Rob Ulrich showed up in Lincoln And it's like, okay, how now does that linebacker position need to look? What does that guy look like? And I'm, Kobe Rhymes is a guy that comes up that a lot of people, you put on his film is spectacular. But you really got to kind of see him, a little bit differently. And you got to kind of see him as a guy that, is kind of more of a walk-up guy, as opposed to maybe where he was going to play before. And I think like a guy like Henry Sakalas, who I ran a story on him on Sunday, from Illinois, is an interesting dude. He's kind of a hybrid safety outside linebacker. I think that when you kind of look at him a little bit, there's a little bit of JoJo Doman, and you can never really have enough of those kind of guys around. I think like a Blake Lawrence, JoJo Doman kind of guy that's really athletic, can drop into space, and then at the same time can come down in the box and support the run and also get after the quarterback and do some blitzing. I think Henry's a really interesting player for Nebraska back there in the secondary. So those are some names I think that I'm really watching. I think Trey's got a really good shot to end up, maybe committing shortly after his visit to Nebraska, that June 5th weekend. That would be an interesting guy, and it really helps Nebraska, I think, kind of bolster their numbers there in the trenches on the defensive side.
Hey, really quickly, I know he's coming in for a visit this weekend, but where's Nebraska stand with Matthew Gregory out of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I put in a prediction for Matthew Gregory. I kind of followed Steve Wiltfong on that one. I think some things are kind of trending Nebraska's way there. I think that, I think Notre Dame filled up. I think LSU's got a few guys a little bit higher on their board than where Matthew is kind of at. I also don't feel like, when, changes were made at Penn State and Franklin went to Virginia Tech, I don't feel like the same kind of vibe was there for Penn State, for Gregory. So I think Nebraska is kind of a logical spot there. And this is a guy that, he was a 10-4 guy a year ago. I think he ran a 10-8 this last year. So you don't know if he was, he's still very fast. He's still got good size. I'm sure he's put on some weight, some good weight since then, and you kind of lose a little bit of flexibility. You probably lose some top end speed and get back to some form running. But I think Nebraska's in a great spot, for him. And I think when you look at the rest of the class, you're still going, well, there could be a need for one wide receiver. There could be a need for multiple wide receivers. I mean, especially like if Caden Howard is, he just picks up Georgia Tech, obviously going to take some more visits and keep looking around. And it looks like he's very much made this a thing about respect with him and ratings and his speed and all those good things that kind of come along with it. So I'm kind of feeling more and more that, Caden Howard probably doesn't end up, in the class with Nebraska, just because I feel like he's gonna maybe end up staying closer to home. I think that UCF has got his eye quite a bit. But I think with Gregory, I think it's a good get for Nebraska. I think that's he's got some speed, he's got some size. I think he has some things that he definitely needs to work on when it comes to playing wide receiver in the Big Ten. But I think that there's a lot of upside there with him.
Right. Give me some thought. There's, I'm going big view again with you, but the optics of Nebraska football recruiting, when you look at it, when you look at the players they're going after, or when the coaches talk, Jeep Wade talked about the sense of urgency not being a honeymoon here at Nebraska. Do you get that feeling that staff has changed the way they're doing things and how important it is going forward to set the future up? Because I get the feeling, even hearing your voice talking about the cycles, the types of kids, being a little nervous at some points, that the coaches now are like, wait a minute, we got to approach this a lot different. We got to be like, we have to go hunting right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting that feeling hearing and talking, especially with a guy like Jeep Wade. That guy's intense.
No, I totally agree with that. I think that, you're going out there with so many tags and you're a hunter and you have to be patient and you have to there's recruiting these days is, it almost, I think it helps to have the things that like Jeep Wade and other coaches like EJ Barthel and Addison Williams and the guys that are great at the table, great in the living room, at the dinner table, talking to parents, and talking to the coaches and have great relationships. I don't think that's ever going to, I don't think it's ever not going to matter in terms of recruiting, but there's so much now today when it comes to recruiting, where it's like, it's more like going to a grocery store and picking out the right things that are on the list of groceries that everybody is saying that you need to go ahead and go find. And then you got to kind of then stay within your budget, so if you're preparing your meal and, you need these things and you can't go over a certain dollar amount because, and this thing's not on the menu tonight and you can't add it to your cart randomly because you got a salary cap, you got a cap to your roster. So it's changed so much to where, you could see just like where the bonds are there, within the players and the parents and, with the university. And I think that like that still matters. I think the facilities still matter. I think location still matters. But then there's still like this having to kind of go out and, like you said, hunt or go to a grocery store and pick up your groceries of what you're trying to do to build your class and build your roster. And that is really kind of changed the way that things are being done. There's a lot more now about these trips when they come to Lincoln that are business than they were just kind of like, hey, come on in, let's go show you around, walk around campus and put you here. And it's like, no. At some point we got to go sit down and talk. And there's some more difficult conversations I think happening now in the way that the world kind of is at the moment.
It's Brian Munson with us here, talking some Husker football recruiting. And Brian, before we get you out, we did have the NFL schedule released last week.
Yeah.
Your Bills, man, that's there's a stretch in the middle part of the season that ain't terrible, but for the most part, the first 5 weeks are brutal. The end of the season's brutal, but you have plans on Christmas, Broncos and Bills, Christmas Day.
Ooh.
I have plans at Thanksgiving and I have plans at Christmas. I have plans for both. I think my unselfishly, my thoughts turn towards Josh Allen missing his first Thanksgiving and Christmas with his son and his wife, as he's going to have to play games on those holidays. I look forward to seeing him on both of those days. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, there was definitely some thoughts like that I had about it. It is a brutal schedule. And I thought that I looked at a report of like just who had the most difficult schedule. I don't think the Bills were like in the top 8 or top 10. I really kind of rolled my eyes at it. I felt like the if Buffalo didn't have one of the top or one of the toughest schedules, for this coming season, I was really gonna be surprised by it, and I was surprised when I did see some initial information and feedback on that deal. But I think I was really more interested like the day of the release and the initial analysis. So maybe now that the dust has settled here a little bit, I need to go back and kind of reanalyze that and take a look at it again. But yeah, it's going to be tough. I think they come to Houston in September, October. So I think we're looking at maybe going down there for a trip. That stadium is so huge. I've actually like literally felt like ill inside of it. Like there's just so much cubic space. Like just like the depth of it is just massive. Like as opposed to like Jerry's World, like where there's a massive scoreboard there you can kind of focus on. There isn't anything like that in Houston. So maybe going to go take a look at that if my stomach and my depth perception allows.
I think the bigger question that Elijah didn't ask is if you guys can coexist, because he's a huge Broncos fan and he doesn't feel bad for your Bills, by the way. He painted it like that, but that was not it.
He might get put through a table if the Bills lose. We never know. I mean, there might be some anger taken out.
You know what? I think it's I think it's fine. I think that the AFC West needs some people to challenge the Chiefs. I'm all about that. So I'm totally fine with the Broncos. I really am. Always was kind of a closet John Elway guy. So I'm fine with it. We'll see you in the playoffs. I think we do play each other in January.
Christmas Day.
Is that? Oh, it is Christmas Day. My bad. That is the Christmas Day. That's the Christmas Day thing. So yes, don't mind the lump of coal that I will leave for you, and enjoy your Christmas dinner. Don't let it get eaten by the bumpus hounds.
Hey, just stay away from Bo Nix's ankle. If you can do that, I'll be happy.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, Brian, man, I appreciate your time as always, my friend. Man, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you real soon.
All right, man. See you guys.
Thanks, B. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff.
I'll never forget Bill Hooks sending me the article and ruining my evening after Bo Nix, the news came out. He was on it within like 60 seconds
I'm
of the
like,
news dropping.
what?
After I sniped Bo Nix's ankle. Oh,
Yeah.
no, that wasn't me. It
Well,
wasn't
I'm
me.
sitting there enjoying my glow of going to the AFC title game, and I get a text from Hooksy. I go, what could this be? It's an
He wants
ESPN article. Let's open that up, and then my night was ruined.
What is the right time to wait? Is it like letting a
No, you did the right thing.
send it to you like, yeah, friends do friends things, or let you find out and you're like, why don't you guys tell me?
You did the right, because within like 60 seconds of you texting me, my phone starts blowing up.
Yeah.
So I was glad that you let me know, as
Yeah.
opposed to like a Chiefs friend.
Oh, that would have been worse.
Yeah, if like a Chiefs friend went at you and went, ha, and you could have went, ha, you didn't make the playoffs.
Broncos gonna Bronco.
You guys see that the Chiefs are still the betting favorite to win the AFC West.
Probably just the way
I
it's-
will be putting my money somewhere else.
I'd probably put it on the Chargers this year.
Put it on the Raiders, baby.
Chargers-
Kidding,
that's a brutal
kidding.
Yeah, the Chargers got a brutal schedule.
Yeah, but they're good, man.
No,
they're good.
Can they stay healthy?
That's the question.
Are they
Good question.
also near that like radioactive nuclear plant like the 49ers are? Do they have that weird stuff going on? Where like their knee tendons just randomly explode?
Well, did you see the Chargers schedule release?
Yes.
Where whenever they played the 49ers, it's the electrical substation and the little thing they had, because it was a Halo themed video, was the objective.
They
was
always
to survive San Francisco. with the
They
electrical
do a
substation.
great job with those videos, the Chargers social media team. Because like the Packers,
phenomenal.
They blew up Bo Nix's ankle.
The Packers did like a robot chicken thing, and that was pretty cool because I'm a big fan of robot chicken. And I was like, oh, this is like really awesome to have this happening for the schedule release. That was really cool. But like the Chargers always have some cinematic recap thing
awesome.
going on. It's kind of awesome.
It's
They
always
do a great
hilarious,
job
too.
with that.
Whenever they had the Patriots, it was new message from the New York Post.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Low blow. Good stuff. All right, let's take our final break and come back with stories that we missed.
All right. Should be good.
Good stuff.
Uh,
All right.
They're gonna get out of here, and I'm gonna be able to catch the back half of that SEC tournament game.
Glad you mentioned it. Running around to do wife's going. I got to help out with some things and I want to watch some baseball.
Yeah, Michigan State's still shutting out Purdue, so
incredible.
The old Soiler makers.
Ow. Sleep. Boom.
I find this recruiting stuff so fascinating because people will like crash out about recruiting, and I'm like, brother, it's the 2027 class and it's not even July yet. Can we please just pump the brakes, my brother?
I love the fact that we, as fans, generalities, crash out on 17, 18-year-old kids.
I know, and it's like they're probably just sitting there in high school and they're like, dude, this coach just texted me, isn't that awesome? And they're like, yeah dude, you want to go get like Subway for lunch? And they're like, yeah, dude, that sounds kind of awesome. And meanwhile, everybody's like, why haven't they committed yet? It's like, guys, they're kids. They're probably doom scrolling on TikTok. Let's relax.
Hundo.
Mm-hmm. Your kids probably do it. They probably get back home and they want to spend a little time on the cellular devices.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're allowed with timing restraints.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be a moderation. You can't
I'm
just be doing it the whole
probably
time.
speaking for every parent in the world as the summer is approaching. It's the last week of school for I think everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This summer coming and the weather being nice, that your kids will go outside.
Time to hit the pool, baby.
I did see that they were filling up the pool by my house today.
Where we got our pool, it's full.
Elijah Herbal will be the first one in there.
Well, they made
this is the weekend.
I missed it. But
This is the weekend.
Yeah.
Most pools all open Memorial Day weekend.
As
For
they
events.
should.
Uh-huh.
Elijah Herbal will be in there.
There was like 2 summers back in the day where I was a bit of a pool rat myself. I haven't been to a public pool in years now because I have a job. But
because I have a life now.
Man, I think it was summer after
You're in my chair.
Summer after
It's Elijah.
summer after 6th grade, we were at the pool. Me and my brother 3 times a week, 4 times a week.
That sounds awesome.
My kids will live there. That's just
Hey,
and I'm happy for it.
As they should. Better than being on those dadgum devices.
That in the golf course would be great. For them.
And just get your kids out and about.
It's great.
Oh, to be 12 again, just going to the public pool every single day in the summertime.
That and
back
not-
before taxes and bills.
That and not having to wake him up. My kid this morning said that.
Hey, Ryan A40 says you've been working on your pool look, Elijah. You've been working hard on the summer bod.
A little bit. I'm getting sick and tired of the diet. There's some cookies sitting on the counter that are calling my name.
Hey, do you want me to go eat them for you so like you can't be tempted?
You should have been eating them on air in front of him.
That sounds like borderline torture.
No, that's just it's
motivation.
Yes, not.
I'll make it to like the 4th of July or something. We'll see.
I thought we were gonna.
I'm still rocking and rolling.
I thought you were gonna rock it until the opening of something.
Opening day of Nebraska football, baby.
That's a long time. We'll see. I'm just keep it rocking until I don't feel like keeping it rocking anymore.
Brother, I got ticked at my thunder last night, and so I was in a nasty gym session. Every time I was like, I can't squeeze out one more rep. I just went, son of a gun, you hate Wembanyama. Just say I hate
Just
Wembanyama.
say you hate.
Yeah, it was just like, and then I was just like in my head, I'm like, oh, Chet's so passive. I'm like, I hate this team. I hate this team. As I'm just repping out, just reps and reps of chest press.
I'm more sick and tired. I got cardio days on Tuesday and Thursday. I'm more sick and tired of those than I am of
the lift,
the diet.
My cardio,
like I missed lifting.
My cardio consisted of running from the rain last night. That was not fun.
I hate I don't want to go sit on the treadmill for an hour today. I will.
That's why I play pickup basketball, baby.
That's smart. I will go hit the treadmill because I'm consistent and because I'm disciplined. Lord, I don't want to.
You could always hit the Stairmaster, baby.
I'd rather
build up the glutes, baby. I love the Stairmaster.
I'll be squatting later this week.
Whew.
I don't need the Stairmaster when I squat.
We are good.
Squat heavy.
We do not need that.
Squat's my favorite lift of the week. Well, it's not. It sucks, but it's the endorphins firing better than any other.
We gonna combo stories we missed in this day in sports. Are we comboing that? Or
Yeah,
we
sure.
just give it to independent. I mean, we got 5.5 minutes to fill here.
Oh, we're coming back.
Yeah, we're coming back.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. A few moments left. Special thanks here to Brian Monte, HuskerOnly.com, hanging out with us. We're gonna get to this. Wait, I'm going back. We talked about this. The Angels game last night. I've been reading about this. Some of you saw it. No hitter going to the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
6 pitches later, walk-off loser.
Walk-off nuke.
My goodness.
Ball is tanked.
Should have put in the closer.
My goodness.
Yeah, let's go to Mason Miller. Oh, wait. We can't go to Mason Miller.
I thought to myself, wait a minute. That typically when that hit gives up, that's the time to go get your starter and let him get his flowers as he's walking off.
Yeah, there was just no time. He just gave a bomb.
6 hits.
Rain on your
By the way, a
parade.
few things from that going back now. There's been currently you took that. There hasn't been a no hitter since September of 24 in Major League Baseball.
Was that Domingo Herman? When he did the perfect game?
No, there was one between there.
The Cubs, the combined against the Pirates.
Oh, combined no hitter.
But the most recent individual, August 2nd, 2024, Blake Snell.
Yep,
Blake Snell.
Also a stat out of this. The Angels have gone 4,227 straight games, including the postseason, without being no hit.
Wow.
It's the longest active streak in Major League Baseball without a no hit.
And now that you said that, they're going to get no hit.
Yeah.
In other news, did
Crazy.
you guys see the drama with Jackson Smith and Jigba today?
How he got handed his Offensive Player of the Year award, and did it say defensive?
Yeah. So Jackson Smith and Jigba, after his name got butchered by Drewski at the awards, gets his award today. And it says, 2025 NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Isn't that the quote? You got one job.
You got one job, man.
You got one job.
Just put it on a plaque, brother.
Yeah, that's disrespectful. He even asked the question, is like, this is getting disrespectful?
Yeah.
Absolutely getting disrespectful at this point in time.
Wow. For a guy who, by the way, is really freaking good at what he does. Like that,
it says Defensive Player of the Year, but it also is missing the space in between the words the and year.
Oh my
So it's
goodness.
Defensive Player of the Year.
I mean, what kind of cheap plaque job are we getting? We are the NFL. That is a multi-billion, not a million, billion-dollar industry. We can't figure out a freaking award.
I don't want to say this too lightly, but everything that's gone with that situation, somebody deserves to get fired.
Yes. Oh, that is exactly.
I don't want people losing their jobs, but somebody deserves to get fired over that.
Yeah, like between the Drewski stuff and that, like it's just getting disrespectful for a guy who, by the way, is absolutely incredible at what he does on a football field. Like it is genuinely awesome to watch that guy play, and we're just straight up just making it a complete troll job now.
Wow. Any moments in this day in sports we got out there, guys?
Oh, gotta take a look.
Last time I went.
Well, we did talk. Was it during a commercial break? We talked about the all black golf ball that Bridgestone has released.
Look,
if you're a fan of losing your golf balls, you can pay $100 for a dozen. Bridgestone, the new black golf balls.
I'm also completely against any kind of colored golf balls, like pink, yellow. I'm not a fan. Tell me that you are on the senior tour without telling me you're on it. Play that ball.
There's certain courses, especially whenever it's not the best time of year like we have right now, where it's all green, where sometimes some colored balls, if you are a fan of spraying it around, help you find your golf ball. You know,
hey, you want to hear something really ironic in sports history?
Yeah,
in 1912, AL president Ban Johnson, this is going to get really funny in a second, tells the Detroit Tigers if they continue to protest Ty Cobb suspension, they will be, guess what, banned from baseball. Ban Johnson was going to ban a team, not a player. He was going to ban the Detroit Tigers from baseball. If they would have kept protesting on behalf of Ty Cobb, the Detroit Tigers, as we know and love them or hate them, will cease to exist.
At this point, the way they're playing, they could be. They missed an opportunity.
Hey, I mean, you never know. In 1961,
I'm trying to figure out why this one's on sports history. In 1941, Nazi Germany occupiers in Holland forbid bicycle taxis. That's on this day in sports history, and I don't know why.
Yep, no more bicycle taxis. You're finished.
What?
You're finished. No more public transportation for you.
Yeah, that's a big sports history one. We do use a site to give us some of this day in sports history.
Hey, in 1960, the San Francisco Giants rookie Juan Marichal beat the Philadelphia Phillies 2-0. He was the first National League hurler since 1900 to debut with a one-hitter.
Wow.
How about that?
What good stuff.
Fellas, I'm not sure if I know this is not the market to talk about. 2:15 this afternoon. We have a really big soccer game. No one's going to care about it, but Tottenham against Chelsea. A draw or a win confirms that they stay in the Premier League next year. So pray for my Tottenham Hotspur.
I thought they were.
So you're losing 3-0.
That wasn't the team that we talked about.
They're very close to maintaining, but
good luck. Awesome. Hey, tomorrow Husker Legend TV can a whole lot more. Have a great Tuesday. Catch you on Wednesday.